For years, many people suggested Unity and Unreal Engine. These right here are just a few examples.
After the idea was decided, we started discussing a framework. My teammates wanted to use Unity, of course, so we ended up using Unity even though only 2 people from the team had experience with it.
While I can definitely see why they suggested this, at least at the time, those only start free. If you ever get lucky and make over a certain amount of money, they may demand royalties or try to force you to upgrade. Others, like Construct, only have free trials, which give just a few options or a brief time frame to make anything. These can work if it's still possible to make the kind of game you want and take as much time as you need, even with limited features, then more power to you. However, if they only give you a short time frame, you may want to be more cautious, as they may auto-renew you onto a paid subscription if you don't opt out in time. I haven't seen that for myself, but I have seen it on similar service type platforms like Amazon Web Services, and we can't dismiss the possibility of that being in your next engine. So remember, always do your research. It could even help you anticipate radical changes like Unity's new per install model. Yes, they soon lifted the fee from free users, to be fair, but the fact that they had to be pressured into doing this does still leave room for concern. These are just some reasons why it's so important to do as much research as you can before you even download the installer, so you don't just get rug pulled partway through development. Another reason is that your options will depend on exactly what types of games you plan to make. Finding any software is just a matter of going online. Just scroll through as many websites as you can, ideally with an ad blocker if at all possible, and then document everything you see. However, finding the right software isn't as simple, as you'll need to narrow this list depending on what your goals are as a game designer. Some engines like Soar 2D and LibGDX focus mainly on 2D games. Some like Urho and Armory 3D prefer 3D ones, and may even come as add-ons instead of traditional software, while others like Godot and Default are more streamlined for both. Tools like Scratch aren't as powerful but are easier to use. Still, others like Spring RTS were built for certain genres. And some people don't even use engines at all. Some people just use traditional programming interfaces like Eclipse, Python, or in some cases straight up Notepad. I'm serious. No, I wouldn't recommend using Notepad for this, especially if you're a beginner, but it can be done. And notice that most of the other entries are open source. I cannot recommend this type of software enough, as it allows the users themselves to update the engine if they need, and not have to rely on one central figure to do all the work. Either way, remember to do your research before you actually start using the engine. See what platforms they let you export to, and try to see who owns the engine as well. If the owner happens to also run this or this or this, then it's best to just keep looking. Plus, it wouldn't hurt to start reading reviews to learn about other users' experiences. See if anyone mentions spyware or malware as a concern, if they do consider running it through a known antivirus program. If that works out well, then you can see what other games were already made with these tools, so you can have a general idea as to whether they'll suit your needs. Or search through documentation to look for more subtle differences and see how well the engine can handle different features. If you're still unsure, then just experiment with different engines. Ideally, just make very simple projects until you know for sure what works best.